Eden Zero Chapter 214 is out, and this was another really good chapter and played with my emotions once more. We get the conclusion to the fight between Shiki and Ziggy, which I was honestly expecting it to go for another 2 chapters most likely, but ending it the way it did, I think it made sense, and I'll get into it later down the road. But this was another good chapter. I like what it did with Shiki and Ziggy, and I'm honestly curious to see where we're going to wrap up this arc, because it seems like all the major players right now have been dealt with. But before I get into the actual video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps, and it shows you guys like me doing the Eden Zero content here on the channel, so that I can keep doing it weekly as I have been doing. But let's hit that intro and get right into the chapter. So chapter 214 of Eden Zero, titled as One. We start off with a color page of the past, with Shiki training with Ziggy when he was first trying to utilize and learn how to use Satan's gravity to use his ether gear. We see a nice little flashback of the two of them training, which is just Shiki complaining to Ziggy about how he was able to beat on a kid in training despite Shiki wanting to train with Ziggy right now, with the flashback ending with Michael looking on as Shiki is telling Ziggy that he's going to land a punch on him this time. And we get a nice 2-page color spread of the entire Eden Zero crew as a rock band. And I like everyone's designs and outfits in this. Is just really cool. And I really do want to see moments where just the crew are just acting with each other and doing fun stuff. I know we're probably not going to get too much of that in between arcs, but I feel like it's something that's missing, and I would personally enjoy to see stuff like that. But we go on to the actual chapter as we continue from the final panel of last week, with Shiki blasting a hole into Ziggy with one clean hit with his new overdrive form. And from the panels, Shiki is just flat out furious at Ziggy, and there's a nice little smile from Ziggy from what I can tell, as he pulls up to do a punch towards Shiki, saying, "Is that the best you can do?" Shiki brings up his own punch and counters it, and the force of both their gravity ether gears creates a giant gravity blast, destroying the tower that they are in, as they are now in the sky, getting ready to fight once more. We see a nice image of the tower crumbling away, with Ziggy and Shiki trying to avoid the rubble and running towards each other. Shiki lands a kick on Ziggy, pushing him down, and then lunges towards Ziggy from the air to land another punch, which is then blocked by Ziggy. Shiki goes back, lands on rubble, as we see the tower completely falling apart and onto the ground. Both Shiki and Ziggy land as Ziggy tries to provoke Shiki more, saying, "If that's all you've got, you'll never destroy me," using his ether gear to bring up the rubble and launch it towards Shiki at an immense speed. But Shiki just raises his hand, and then all the rubble just falls straight into the ground in a straight line. Ziggy charges towards Shiki once more as he's about to throw another punch. As Shiki blocks it with his right arm, we get a quick flashback to when they trained when Shiki was younger, with Ziggy basically coaching him with what's going to happen next so that he can learn how to block and dodge. He then comes in for a right kick, same with the flashback, mirroring this very same thing, with Shiki dodging it. The flashback then says, "Get ready for a left cross," as that is what's happening next. And a nice little image of Shiki finally using his ether gear to fall towards the sky. As I like this little image, it's so wholesome in contrast to what we're seeing with Ziggy and Shiki now in the present day, as this is kind of more of a tragic image. The flashback dialogue continues with Ziggy stating that that's how you use gravity. Alright, now it's time to show me what you can really do with everything you got. And Shiki has a pretty big look on his face that is distinct from anger that we'll get into as this chapter progresses. Shiki then gets ready and brings up Black Sky, getting ready to land a finishing blow on Ziggy, as one singular panel not showing Shiki's face appears as we go over, and we see that Shiki basically says, "Did you think I wouldn't figure it out? That I'd fall for the same trick twice?" As we get a flashback of the first chapter with the townspeople on Grambel faking a virus in order to push Shiki to leave Grambel and go off on his own adventure. He says, "You set me off into space by making everyone on Grambel pretend they'd gone berserk. And now you're acting like you've been taken over again." So Ziggy has been faking thinking this entire time from the last chapter that he has been taken over again to try and get Shiki to destroy him. As the next page we see Shiki in tears with the markings of his ether gear seemingly slowly fading away, because I assume his anger is subsiding with sadness right now, as he's just saying, "I'm on to you, Grandpa." With Ziggy pausing for a sec and then asking Shiki, "Then are you going to stop?" Shiki replies, "No, I'm not." With Ziggy being like, "Good, don't let me lose control again," as Shiki then throws Black Sky towards Ziggy as he's just standing there waiting to take the hit. As he just says, "Destroy me." With a 2-page spread showing the sheer devastating cataclysmic power of Black Sky, just eviscerating everything in the area, causing a massive explosion. We knew Black Sky was strong, but Shiki is now in a new overdrive state and he's stronger than he was previously, so this is basically going to be an instant kill move for someone that is just standing there and not blocking it. Shiki is now out of his overdrive and falls to the ground, landing with there only being a crater of rubble. A wormhole then opens up, revealing Pino is actually alive. So I'm not sure what happened, but it's very clear now that since Ziggy was basically pretending to be taken over to push Shiki over the edge to kill him, to make sure that the evil personality doesn't take hold again, he made it look like Pino was killed, but actually teleported her away in the middle of a wormhole. And him dying, or at the very last second right before he died, he brought Pino back. So this was a pretty big ploy, and I'm not entirely sure if Pino actually knew what was going on and actually thought it was the end. I think she thought it was the end until she was like put in the wormhole and unable to contact anybody. As she begins to say, "I went through a wormhole, which means Master Ziggy," and then goes over to Shiki trying to ask what's going on. Shiki says, "I'm glad you're okay, Pino. This time it really is goodbye, Grandpa. Grandpa really is gone. I could never tell him before, so I hope he got the message." As Shiki then holding back tears, still crying from the sadness of basically killing his own grandfather, says, "Thank you for raising me. Thank you for everything, Grandpa." As we then get this nice little narration for the rest of the chapter with images of just light particles in the air and a flashback with Ziggy and Shiki when he was raising Shiki, as the dialogue goes, "Jumping through time, becoming a robot, then going back in time and raising me. It's been a strange and unusual fate, but the Shiki standing here now exists outside of the Wheel of Time. Another version of myself, one that never became Ziggy. And that means even if I die, I won't disappear. We will become one, Shiki and Ziggy, and I'll leave it all to my other self. I trust you to guide the destiny of this universe and choose the path for the Eden Zero." As we get a nice panel of the Sakura Cosmos, from what I can tell, as the final page of the chapter is Shiki saying, "I will, Grandpa, I promise." The chapter ends and I loved it. This was a nice fight. The choreography was pretty good, and I liked how two different gravity users were using their abilities to basically fight each other. But the thing I am kind of confused by is why this had to be one full chapter. Maybe Mashima wanted to end this arc a little earlier than anticipated, because this arc has been going on for almost a year. So maybe they don't want a super long arc again like the Aoi War. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, I'm happy with this arc's conclusion seemingly. So with the Irrational Six Galactica is basically done for. The only members are Nox, Shiki, and Elsie, and everyone else is dead. But we still need to figure out what's going on with Nox and the true enemy that has been teased to be on Lendard. So this arc definitely isn't over yet, and we're definitely going to see the true enemy's identity revealed soon, as Hermit is putting the pieces together, and I just can't wait to see when this big reveal happens, because there is still some stuff that we need to address by the end of this arc. What's going to happen with Elsie? Are the Eden Zero crew still going to be considered like members of the Galactica? It's a whole thing, as well as, you know, Project Planet Eater, because now that Ziggy is defeated, what are we going to do now? We still have the Eden's 1 to worry about also, so there's also some other stuff, and Clown is the only, actually yeah, Clown is the only member that is still alive. I think Witch is, I don't know if Wizard is dead. I don't think so. We didn't see Shiki kill him, so there's still some lingering characters there, but the only plot threads we really need a conclusion to in this arc is more or less just the true enemy. Who is it, and why did they take over Ziggy in particular, and how does this all fit together? So that's what we're gonna have to figure out by this arc's conclusion, and I feel like Mashima is gonna build up to that with the next chapter, which I'm excited for. Plus now with Planet Eater basically not really needed, we don't know what's gonna happen now because the main threat is gone for now, but yeah, what did you guys think of this chapter of Eden Zero? What are your thoughts and speculations on who the true enemy is? I keep asking that every video, but I like talking to you guys and hearing what you have to say on the matter, as you all come up with some really nice ideas. As well as what is going to happen now with the Galactica basically being half gone again, Elsie seemingly not wanting to fight, Shiki basically saving the universe from a robotic apocalypse for now, and we got basically Nox in a comatose state being recovered by Sister. So I'm curious to see where that's going to go and the answers with Rebecca and who she actually is and why her parents abandoned her all those years ago. So leave your thoughts, opinions, and theories in the comment section below. It really helps and I love talking to you guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the vid and I hope you all